Alright, in this video we're going to go over the weapons of the A1 Skyraider. We're going to actually go out, we'll attack some NPCs. We'll go ahead and we'll look at the settings here. I shut off vehicle damage and player damage just so that, I don't get shot out of the sky and have to start the video over again. But, you'd want those off or on, whatever you want to do when you're flying. I also have infinite ammo on. Now, we spoke about this in another video. As with usual, a lot of the parts in Stormworks are just way too large. So the magazines for these guns would have to be 2 blocks wide at most. So they would stick out of the bottom of the wing, and it would completely destroy the look of the wing. And I wouldn't have that many rounds, anyways. In real life, there's diagrams of the guns, and the magazines are about 1 by 3 or 4 blocks long for each gun, and that's 200 rounds. So, if the devs put out, some magazines that are actually realistic in size, I'll change that up. But if you want to use the guns, you need infinite ammo on at this point. So let's go ahead and jump in. Jump in the cockpit. We'll do a takeoff. I showed in the other video, my last video, takeoff, landing, and taxi. So we'll click on the master power, engine start, stop, on. Prop, remember, should be at 0. Throttle should be at idle. 210 RPM, that starter is going to kick off. Alright, that kicks off. So again, we'll quickly go through how the weapons work again. So, in order to fire, you need 3 conditions. You need to select a weapon. So let's, in this case, guns. You need to select Master Arm on. Master Arm is on, that's condition 2. And then you need to press the space bar to actually activate the weapon. Alright, so let's, if any of those 3 are not done, you're not going to fire any weapons. So if guns aren't selected, I have nothing selected, nothing happens. If the Master Arm's not on and I press spacebar, nothing happens. Alright, so we're going to start out with everything off, alright, for takeoff. So let's release the brakes, let's close the canopy, 0 flaps for takeoff. Alright, let's start taxiing out there. I actually forgot to do something myself. So remember, put your prop to 10% for taxi. So if you have a problem like that where you throttle up and it's not going anywhere, it's because your prop's at 0. I'm going to use my down arrow key for brakes. Now, I didn't go over this before, but it's very important. So I'm going to hold my brakes right now. If you don't fully release your brakes, so I'm actually going to set the parking brake. So the brakes will automatically release if you let go of the down arrow, but if you don't fully release your brakes, there's a good chance that you'll hit the prop because, if you slam on the brakes on a tail dragger, the nose will drop down. So make sure your brakes are off for takeoff. So I'm going to fold the wings. All right. I'm going to release my brakes. All my brakes are off now. You can even press the up arrow to make sure your brakes are off. We're going to start at 0.35 on throttle. Alright, we're going to wait for the tail to come up. So I'm going to steer with my left and right, and I'm going to wait for the tail to pop up. Once the tail pops up, I'm going to use my W and S keys. I'm holding S, full throttle. 80 knots, we're going to take off. Alright, there we are. We're up. Alright, so gear comes up. Alright, we'll watch it come up. Gear is up. Alright, now if you get a little bit of jittering with that, all I did was wait it out and it will stop. Also, it could be the, if you have too much airspeed, sometimes those doors will hang, which actually happens in real life. They have max gear retraction speeds in real life, and that's so that, the wind is fighting the doors. Alright, so just as in the Frogfoot video, if you haven't seen that, we don't want to come in for an attack run at max speed, because it gives you less time to make any changes. You can't aim as well, so we're going to come in at about 135 knots is good. So let's drop 2 bombs. So we're going to drop Station 1, which is the furthest left, and Station 1 on the right, which is furthest right. We're also going to click on our Master Arm. Now, the only thing we need to do now to drop our bombs is press the space bar. So I don't know if you saw it down there, but we had a large warship. So we're going to try to head back for that large warship. All right, so that's going to be our target. Now, because this was built right after World War II, served in Vietnam and Korea, you know, this isn't going to have advanced missiles. It was a plane that, you know, often had rockets and dumb bombs. So this has a bunch of dumb bombs on there, and it has some rocket pods. All right, so we'll start by doing some dumb bombs. So the outer two most pylons are going to drop first. All right, so right now we have 100% prop, and I'm at 0.7 just to keep this 140 knots. So I'll actually come in a little slower. There's the ship to our left there. All right, so it's shooting at us. I turned off damage so that, you know, I don't get sniped out of the cockpit and have to redo the video. So this is all guesswork, just like any dumb bomb, right? So we're going to come in. I'm just going to guess it. We may hit, we may not. So I'm going to press spacebar. We'll watch them. And boom. It hit the right on the deck. So that was a good drop. All right, so now just for speed's sake, I'm going to put up all, as you can see on this, we have 4 dumb bombs on either side. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. We already dropped 1, but we'll do 1 through 4. All right, so that's going to drop the rest of our bombs. You know, depending on what we're doing, we may want to drop all bombs at once. We may want to drop 1 set. We may want to drop just 1, depending on what we're doing. So I'm just going to drop them all so that the video's not extra long. And we'll see what we'll see if we can hit. So those hit perfectly on the deck of the ship. So you know, so that was a perfect hit. They didn't go off. I think I set them so they won't go off. All right, so I'm actually using my cursor a little. So right there at the nose of the plane, that's my general aiming point I like when I'm doing these bombing runs. All right, so that's on. We're gonna watch. And it hit right in front of it. All right, so next thing we'll do is we're going to do a rocket pass. All right, so in order to fire rockets, we want to look for our rocket button, which is right here. If we select rockets, it's going to allow us to select the rockets. Now, I actually have to fix them. I forgot to do this. Right now, it's going to fire all 3 batteries on either side instead of doing them sequentially. So that's just me. I just have to go in and I have to just move a little bit of logic around. That's a quick fix. But we have 3 rocket banks at 4 apiece, so that's 12 rockets per side. So we're just going to aim in. Now the rockets have a good drop-off, so we want to aim a little bit high for rockets, and then we can actually kind of just keep adjusting our nose to get the rockets to come in. So we're going to go for a rocket attack on this ship. So we would have been long dead. He's been shooting at us with a failing, so we're a World War II plane. So there's rockets, and we got a bunch of hits. So I think we had something like 12 hits. So I have unlimited ammo on, so let me actually get rid of that infinite ammo. I just want to get rid of all those rockets. So I shut off infinite ammo. Like I said, you just, you know, if you want to use the guns, turn on infinite ammo. That's just, you know, again, I think they just make the magazines way too big. They're just unrealistic, and I'm trying to make scale models here, so it's, you know, it's tough to have an unrealistic size magazine for your guns. So those hit, those hit, those hit. All right, so you can do nice rocket passes. So we have 1 more salvo, maybe 2, and then we'll be out. All right, so we're going to finish up our rockets so that I can drop off the pods. All right, so it's good to drop your pods after you're done with them just because it's going to save you weight and drag. You know, I don't know how much Stormworks is really calculating that drag. It might be a little, it might be a lot, but you know, like in real life, you'd want to jettison the pods once you're done. All right, so we're empty. All right, so I'm going to select, if we can look out and count. As you can see, those are station 5 on either side. All right, so let's select station 5 on either side. Let's go outside and let's press the spacebar. Actually, I may have made it so I can't drop my rocket pods on this plane. My frog foot, you can drop them. So I might change that, I might not. We'll have to decide. Fuel pod's still burning there. Okay, so let's turn infinite ammo back on for a gun run. Again, I would love it if they'd put out a smaller size magazine so we don't have to, you know, use infinite ammo for a lot of builds. You know, I know the P-40 Warhawk that was on the at Mr. New Jersey tested out. You know, it had to have infinite ammo because the wings were 1 block thick. So you know, it's not a big deal for you know, like a ship or something to have huge magazines, but you know, it's really hurting planes that we have these enormous magazines. So I really wish the devs would go back and make like a 1x3 magazine, or even make it so those belts you could actually put a reasonable amount of ammo in. You know, if each belt section held like, you know, 40 rounds, that would at least be a start. So let's use our guns. We have 4 cannons. We actually did have some rockets left too. Oh yeah, infinite ammo's back on. That's why it's shooting rockets again. But so as you can see, we have a lot of cannons here. All right, we'll do one more pass and then we'll call it a day. All right, last thing we'll do in this weapons tutorial is I'm going to drop, I don't know where he went. There he is, to my right. All right, we're not going to get much of a good pass on him now with me behind him. But... All right, so next thing we want to do is we want to drop off that center fuel tank. Now, it doesn't have to be a fuel tank. We could put a bomb there, but in this case, it's a center fuel tank. Now, we really wouldn't want to drop it if it still has fuel in it, unless we're, you know, going to do a ground attack and we really, you know, need to lose the drag, or say somebody was chasing us and we need to lose the drag. But we'll drop that off. So let's find where the center is. So it's right behind this throttle. So if you can't find it, move the throttle. It's the center tank. You can actually, one nice thing is you can actually select these things behind the throttle, so it doesn't matter if it's in the way. All right, so we have the center tank. I like to pitch up, and then there goes our fuel tank. So as you notice, since we dropped the fuel tank, our fuel pod is now reading 0. Now we're going to start taking off of our center tank, or our main tanks for our fuel. All right, so that is our weapons tutorial, and that's going to finish up the A1 Skyraider. This should hopefully be on the workshop by the time you watch the video. All right, thank you for watching.